Hello and welcome to another video. So we are playing some Portalcraft today, and if you take a good look at this deck, you'll see it is an Omen of Destruction Portal deck. I actually am a huge fan of Omen of Destruction Portal decks. They've been a lot of fun for me to play, and they aren't the easiest things to counter, although not impossible. I mean, Seraphic Blade is a single card counter, but most decks don't tend to tech that in a lot these days because Portal is not quite as popular either. And if you do run into something like that, Hero of Purgation is a potential answer, although typically I use my Evolves where they belong, with the Omen of Destruction and the, of course, Troop Master, which is awesome. So we're going to get right into this and check it out. So kicking off our first game, we are going up against a Bloodcraft player. Bloodcraft will be interesting. You don't really know the variation until it starts playing, and typically it's one of three that I noticed: two different Mecha Blood variations and a Darkfist Bat variation. They're the most common. Luckily, this deck handles them pretty respectably. I would say the hardest one is Darkfist Bat, since this deck tends to be erring on the slightly slower side, winning around turn 8 to 9, whereas Blood, of course, can just straight up win on 8, so definitely can make things a little tougher. But it does look like it is a Machine of Blood, which definitely is the better matchup to go against in this, considering we run a fairly decent engine as far as removal goes. Things like Destructive Reframe can always do a really good job. Pity we are going first. Going second might have been a little bit better for us on our side, although them going first would have been an edge for them, so it would have made it probably equalizing again. Probably better to give them a disadvantage and us kind of a 50-50 advantage as far as that goes, just kind of neutral advantage. So Hellblaze Demon, we know where that's going, most likely onto a mono, which will be a huge problem later on, especially with that decent board. But I did want to hold on to the puppets because I did want Omen of Destruction to be the clincher for us, since we can actually take out pretty much everything on this board, zero problems. And I decided to generate even more puppets, since we can generate a fairly good number fairly quickly in this game. Since we don't have Troop Master, or Troop Master, I'm not really sure, I think it's Troop Master. Either way, we did get to at least keep up our Omen, which means pretty much anything they send into it now is going to be for negative, since we are running, of course, Bane. And that was definitely not the best thing for them, especially since I can go for a free destruction in white this turn, which will set us up very, very nicely. Although we haven't quite got enough to go for, of course, straight up puppet play. We can at least wipe this out and go for the wind-up play, keeping a couple of puppets off to the side so that we potentially have a decent way to go for Destructive Reframe if they destroy this follower. That way we can get our Destruction and Blackout on turn 8 and wipe the board at the same time, making it much harder to then recover. Really, their only chance would be a mono play on 9, but we're hoping that they don't get that far. We're pretty much just going to try and wipe them out before that. So unfortunately though, we couldn't do that since they didn't kill off the 4-4. Definitely going to slow us down slightly. Obviously not a lot, just enough though. It's going to slow us down. So there it is, the setup for the Maisha play. I decided to actually go for the Evo, since Maisha's actual spell isn't half bad, giving a Storm and I think +4, I believe. We'll take a quick glance. Yeah, +4 and Storm to an allied is still very respectable. They end up just going for the Concede, which was okay with me, but definitely obviously run out of options to deal with. So the next match for this video is going to be against Forest, in particular Gilgamesh. Oh, God, that's going to be a fun one. I mean, Gilgamesh, not the best character for us to fight. Although Forest is a pretty rare sight when I'm playing. And considering I didn't play a super large amount of games with this deck, probably around 3 or 4 games total, finding Forest definitely piqued my interest, which is why I've included it in the video. Plus it was a pretty okay matchup overall. Plus a lot of people do just kind of concede when you play Omen of Destruction. They decide, hey, it's too much for me to handle if they haven't got a good hand, and give you that instant win sometimes. So Sylvia and Justice, that's fine, I'll take it. It's not the worst thing in the world. We've actually got a pretty good setup too. We've got both Tropemaster and of course Leisha, which is going to be great. So Omen of Destruction will be a huge swing turn on 5. Would be nice if I could have got a way to remove the 2-2 without costing us followers, but I mean, beggars can't always be choosers, so we'll just deal with what we got. And they got a very, very nice hand here, going with these followers. It looks like it is an Evolved Forest, which is reasonably to be expected these days. Evolved Forest does seem interesting enough. It's actually a deck I've considered covering. Unfortunately, I'm short on legendaries for Forest. It's definitely my least played class and my most neglected as far as cards go. So I do apologise about no Forest support on the channel much. I try and only show it off when I can, mostly aggro Forest decks, since they're typically the ones I have the cards for. So we do want a way to get rid of all of this, and we have definitely got some options here. Puppets are looking good as far as an option goes, since we can generate a pretty good number. So we don't actually have to use our 3-3 now. We can actually just go pretty much in with the Bane, kill off the 4-4 with Puppets, and just leave up what we want. Ideally, the Junk will be hit by its effect as well, which will work in our favour quite well. So a 50-50, which either way isn't a big deal. Ideally, Junk would have been the better one because we wouldn't have lost as much damage, but I mean, a 1-3 and a 1-2, that's pretty okay when you consider that Destruction and White will lose cost no matter what. So, Axeman, not a problem. We'll deal with that as we come to it. Especially since we can use Puppet Strings. Wind-Up's actually pretty useless because I've now set myself in a permanent negative resonance unless I can get a draw card. At least we are going to be able to drop Destruction in Black to a turn 8 play. Even better, potentially, we could play it with another card on turn 8, since of course we do have 2 more Puppets in our hand, so we can potentially clear at least a 3-drop. And speaking of a 3-drop, there's at least that, although they are boosting it, so it's a little depressing. Or we can just straight up take out the 1-1 and the 2-2. I mean, at this point, why not? And a Puppet draw, even better. So, we're looking at a very, very good set of plays here. So, Destruction in Black, pretty much guaranteed to come down now. No reason not to. May as well just get it out, play it out, and work with what we've got. We can also, of course, go for these, which is going to come in handy. We can actually go for the Miraculous Invention, which sets up even more potential healing in case they decide to swing at us next turn. And they did go for the White Varana Ward. Soul's attack defense is increased by a spell. Evolve it. Its evolve, unfortunately, is really good. It's a Storm Ward, which is fairly powerful. Plus, I think it also has the 2 attack feature on it, so we're going to definitely be in trouble now. Or no, maybe not. Maybe it was missing the 2 attack feature. Good for us, because we don't have much chance if they make another play like that. So, my best bet is to set up a Leod, going for a Ward. Plus, we are going to heal another 3, so it puts us in a reasonable range here. So it's not going to be easy to go for victory. Justice, not too bad. Has to focus on Leod. Greenland Axeman, that's a good play as well. At best though, that's 4 damage. So definitely not enough to win them the game, and our Destruction in Black is going to close it for another 10 damage. Nice and secure, tying it up for turn 10. So that is going to round out this video. I do enjoy playing Omen of Destruction Portal. I may make a return on the channel with a few smaller adjustments, but it is still fairly decent and fun. It's also not super heavy at all on legendaries. It is only running a 5, I think, here. Yep, it looks like 5 to me. And that is some of the least legendaries I have seen in the deck for quite a while as far as decks that I've played. I do want to cover some budget decks. It's just coming up with some for rotation are almost impossible these days that don't rely on at least 2 to 3 core legendaries. Whereas at least Unlimited would have some more options. Maybe we'll look at some unlimited budget decks, but in that situation, most people are more interested in playing rotation as far as what I've seen based on views on videos and such. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find a link in the description below for the deck list. Until next time, guys, see ya.